how to attract the right people into your life. And before we start the topic of this video, I want to mention that by the right people, of course, everyone has their own meanings. But I mean that you attract into your life people who love you, who value you, who take care of you, and with whom you feel happy, with whom you feel that you can be yourself without any masks. And just to give you some context, relationships with other people was a biggest struggle for me for a very long time. I was at a place where I was completely lonely. I didn't want to interact with anyone. I was in abusive relationships. I was putting myself on the last place just to be good and to be accepted. And now I'm at that point where I choose with whom I want to be, where I feel completely myself in any relationships, where I have a healthy, loving relationships with my husband. So this is, what I see as the result of my inner work that I've done. And the first thing to understand here is that people reflect your beliefs about the world and about yourself. For example, if you believe that people want to deceive or use you, this is exactly what kind of people you will create in your reality. But not because there are no other people, but not because anyone is bad and wants to use you. It happens only because you believe in that. You believe that you cannot trust anyone. The way you perceive the world, it is how it becomes in your reality. But not because it is limited or because everything is in that way. It happens because you believe in something. You believe in some idea, and this is exactly how you create it in your reality. And the world itself, it contains everything, every duality, from evil to good, from love to hate, from being wealthy and not having anything at all. And the world you live in is defined by your feelings, beliefs, ideas, and reactions. These elements, they directly affect on what reality you create around you. And your beliefs, they also a specific vibrational frequency of your consciousness. And you observe in the external a perfect projection of the vibrations of your consciousness. In other simple words, in what you believe in, this is exactly what you see in your external reality. And this is why every time when something going not as you want it to go, every time when you have people who devalue you, who don't even care about you, the problem is not in that. The problem is within you. And I don't mean in you as a person, I mean in the ideas you believe, in feelings that you experience, in choices that you make. So you can use the external as a perfect mirror of your inner world. When you look at the people in your life, what do you feel? What feelings you experience? What ideas come into your mind? Think deeply about what they reflect back to you. Because again, as I mentioned, the external reality, it is a perfect mirror of you, of all ideas you believe in, of all feelings you experience, of all choices, unconscious choices you make. And the world is also showing the vibrational frequency of your consciousness. And the first step here to change the relationships with other people and to attract people, the right people into your life, is to recognize your own beliefs, aka ideas about yourself and about this world, and change them into the new ones. And when you change the vibrational state of your consciousness, it means that you change what you believe in, what you feel, and your consciousness, it contains all vibrational frequencies. You can become and you can feel anything you want. You can become anyone you want. You can feel anything you want. You can align with any idea, the new idea that will help to create the reality you want in the external. It already exists in your consciousness. You just have to make the choice to align with the new vibrational frequency of your consciousness. And what happens next? When you experience a different vibrational frequency, so you start to experience the new feelings, you start to have the new thoughts in your mind, you start to believe in the new ideas about yourself and about this world, you start to notice that the shape in the external, the end result is changing. But it's changing because you have done your inner work first. Because what you see outside, it is simply a perfect projection of you. It shows you. It is a mirror that perfectly reflects you. And the external reality, it contains all four. It contains all range of people. And if you don't see anything in the external what you want, it doesn't mean that you will never experience that. It only means that you have to change the frequency of your consciousness. You have to change what you believe in and what you feel. So there is no need to blame anyone. There is no need to complain about anything, because if you are not satisfied with the kind of relationships, with the quality of your relationships, it only means that you have to change something inside you. It only means that you have to change your own beliefs and your own feelings, because the external is only a mirror, a projection of you. So there is no need to fall into a victim mentality and to blame any person, or to blame that the world is, hard, or it is not the way you want it to be. If you don't like anything in your external, change yourself. Change your own beliefs and ideas about this world. And when you do that, you will always see the changes in your external reality, because it works very simple. When you change yourself, you change the external. So the next key to attract the right people, it was essential and life-changing for me, is that the way you treat yourself is how other people will treat you. Because how you treat yourself, it is like a standard you set for other people, how they should treat you. And as I mentioned, for a very long time, I sacrificed myself. I was living in a victim mentality, thinking that if I will put myself on the last place, people will notice that and will say that I'm good, will love me, will take care of me. But in reality, if you don't take care of yourself, nobody will. So I often tell you that I was a people pleaser, and I thought that, and if I will put myself on the last place, people will notice that and say, oh my God, you're so good, I'm so glad for your sacrifice. But in reality, nobody cares about your sacrifice. Nobody cares how you treat yourself. They will treat you the way you treat yourself. So if you don't value yourself, if you don't feel that you are worthy of something, they will treat you the same way. So when I was a people pleaser, nobody cared about me. They only took advantage of me. They only had the ability to use me. And people got used to the fact that I was easy to be used and that I didn't need anything in their return. And the only one who suffered from my sacrifice was me. Nobody cared about my sacrifice. Only I was the victim of my own sacrifices. And in one moment, I realized that that was a game I played. And all people in my reality who used me, who abused me, they were the actors of my own inner game. The inner game of being a victim. But it was only my own game, that someone will notice and appreciate my sacrifice and me being and living in a victim mentality. But in reality, it was not in that way. So nobody cares if you sacrifice yourself or if you love and value yourself. People will treat you the way you treat yourself. So what's the point to playing a victim game if you can choose the opposite? And people will do the same for you. They will value and love you if you do that first to yourself. And as I mentioned, how you treat yourself, it sets the standard for your own reality. So when we interact with someone, we sense and we feel not only the words someone says, but we also feel energetically, like the energetic boundaries. We feel the energy field of other people. And it happens, let's say, subconsciously. So we feel how someone treats themselves, and unconsciously, this is the way how we start to treat them. So energetically, we feel the standards of someone. And people, they feel energetically our own standards. And if you lower your standards, if you say yes when you want to say no, or if you put yourself on the last place, as I have done for a very long time, thinking that someone will notice and appreciate it, it's the illusion that you have. People will use you. They will take advantage of that fact that you do to yourself. And you will be the one who will influence by that. You will be the one with the consequences of that. And also, if we will look deeper into that idea that we have to sacrifice ourselves for someone's appreciation, we can notice that people are attracted to those who value and love themselves. Just take a look at all the leaders. They have a very high standards and they love themselves. And that's also the point why so many people are attracted to them, because they energetically feel that energy, that they love themselves, take care of themselves. And that's just the fact of this life, that people want to be around those people who love themselves and take care of themselves. And it's also another illusion to expect the world and people to treat you in the new way, to treat you well, if you don't do that to yourself. If you devalue yourself, if you compare yourself, if you don't feel that you are worthy enough to have or to be anyone, this is exactly what kind of people you will attract in your reality. They will compare you. They will say that you're not good enough, that what you do is not good enough. And they will expect you to sacrifice yourself, because this is what you do to yourself. The way you treat yourself is how other people treat you. So the first to start with is to look at how you treat yourself. Do you devalue yourself? Do you put yourself down and compare yourself? Because again, everything that you feel to yourself, how you treat yourself, is what you see in the external. Because the external always reflects you. It reflects what you do to yourself, it reflects what you feel and what you believe in. And regardless of your achievements, regardless of anything, you have to start treating yourself the way you want right now. You have to start loving yourself right now, without any goals, without anything in the external. Because first, what happens? First, you change yourself. You start to experience the new vibrational frequency of your consciousness. It means that you start to love yourself, take care of yourself, believe that you are able to achieve anything that you want, whatever you want. And then, because you have changed the vibrational frequency of your consciousness, you increase your standards. You will notice a difference in the external. You will notice that you have a different kind of people, or someone who devalued you, they started to treat you well. You will start to experience self-confidence and believe that anything that you want is possible in your reality, because you have done the inner work. You have changed yourself in what you believe in, and you have changed your own energy, the vibrations of your consciousness. And always, as the result, the end result, you notice a difference in the external. But first, it always starts within. And another point here, and this is what I noticed from my own personal experience, is that the moment you start to treat yourself in the opposite, in the new way, the moment you increase your standards, people will wonder, what is happening with you? Why do you start loving yourself? And this is when most people fail. They start to decrease their standards back again. But you have to stick to your new way of how you perceive yourself. You have to stick to your new standards and not lower the bar. And the people in your reality, they will either accept your new standards and they will treat you in the different way, or you will find the new people, because the world is so abundant and there are so many people who can love you, who can accept you the way you are, and where you don't need to pretend to be anyone. Because simply everyone in our reality is a projection of us, how we see ourselves. This is what we see, how other person treats us. Because all people in our reality, they are the projection of our consciousness. And of course, because our consciousness is limitless, we can create the new ideal projections in the form of people in our reality. So there's no need to worry that if you're no longer with that person, you will never meet anyone else. You will. Because every person is simply a projection, an ideal projection of the vibrational state of your consciousness. And you will always create the new, perfect, ideal projections of your own consciousness in your reality. So again, people, they reflect you. And the way you treat yourself is how other people will treat you. So look deeper and don't blame anyone. Just change the relationships with yourself first, and you will notice a difference how other people treat you. And the last point here, I think that it is essential, it is the crucial part, is that you have to give yourself what you expect from others. Because the reality, and let's say that it is kind of a victim mentality, that no one has to satisfy your needs. This is only what a victim mentality have an idea of. This is only the perception of a victim mentality, that someone should come, help you, and give you what you expect. The victim mentality is all about waiting for someone to come and to give you what you want. The victim mentality is not about taking actions and taking care of yourself. The victim mentality is all about waiting, blaming, and hoping for a miracle to happen. But I always say that a miracle happens when you do the work, when you take the actions, when you change the way you feel in what you believe. The victim mentality is all about waiting, blaming, and feeling disappointment all of the time. Because this is always what happens. When we sit and wait for a miracle to happen, nothing happens, because if we don't change what we believe in, how we feel, nothing will change in the external, because it's simply a projection. How it can be changed without your inner changes? It's impossible. It always changes when you change the vibrational state of your consciousness, so you change in what you believe in and what you feel. And in that way, of course, you will notice the changes. But somehow by itself, without your changes, it won't happen. And being in that state of waiting for something or something to happen or someone to come in your reality and to give you what you expect, it has also put you into a certain vibrational state, vibrational frequency of your consciousness. And it comes with the feelings of being disappointed, of feeling lack, of feeling not enough and being not enough to create what you want. So the end result of that state is disappointment, is not having and not getting what you want. And as I mentioned, and I think that all of you now remember about that, is that the world reflects you. It reflects the vibrational state of your consciousness. So if you live in the state of disappointment, of waiting for a miracle to happen, but you don't take any actions, this is what will manifest in your external. It will manifest in situations when nothing works out. And then, of course, you will get disappointment. So when we start the relationships with a desire for someone to satisfy our needs, it is called to fill the gaps. And I think that this is the first red flag of codependent relationships, when you use someone to fill your own gaps, because it creates the relationships with so many conditions, demands, and there is no room for unconditional love, because you have so many expectations, you have so many conditions, because it's impossible to accept someone the way they are. You will expect them to be someone, you will expect them to do something for you. And most of the time when we start the relationships from a place of lack, from a place of need and hoping that someone will fill our gaps, it always ends with a breakup. This relationship, they will always come to an end, because it's impossible to live in these conditions all of the time. It creates a lot of tension and a lot of pressure on you and on that person. And either you will grow up and be tired of that relationships or that person. But what happens in that, so many times it's so hard to break free from that kind of relationships. And it's so easy to stay here and to suffer. This is the illusion of love, but it's built on unhealthy mutual benefits, on filling each other gaps. But this is not how we can feel true happiness and love. And of course, everyone wants to feel a pure, divine, unconditional love, a pure, divine happiness. And it's possible where there are no conditions, no demands, no need to wait from someone something. So think about what you expect from others, what you expect other people to give you, and give yourself that first. This is how you will become whole, and from that state you will be able to attract the same people into your reality. Because it is so important to give yourself what you expect from others. So always remember that the world reflects you. It reflects the vibrational state of your consciousness. And when you change the vibrational state of your consciousness in the first place, you will always notice the difference in the external. All transformations, they always start from you.